Okay, family, here we are again. Lord Eric Steele, aka Big Rossi Love, here with another episode of FBA All Day. I'm going to be addressing again some questions that we received from the family. The questions for today were also, can you describe the books and scholars you recommend for a high schooler? Okay, it's a great question, and I would love to expound on that. Okay, listen, the things I'm talking to you for, family, the things that I'm going to bring to you is for the knowledge of I'm speaking to you as if your children were my children. If your son was my son, your daughter was my daughter. So I'm going to give you the information from our FBA Foundational Black American standpoint, okay? All right, now, things that I have come across, or the scholars and books that I have read that brought me to my position where I am now, um, is many. I've read so many books. I have so many influences from coming up. I'm a military brat, first of all, so I have a lot of experience with discipline I got from having a military family. My father is a Marine, so I have that under my belt as well. So I understand chains of command. I understand how to follow directions, and I understand how to execute plans. I have these under my belt already, so we'll start there. So it always helps to have, if you're a male, especially, you got to have a level of discipline if you want to be successful in life. Okay? Successful life begins with discipline, hard work, and discipline. You can't just show up one day, you have to continue to show up. You have to show up day after day after day. That's how you get things done. Okay? So you got to have that level of discipline. All right? Excuses don't matter. Excuses, they mean nothing. Okay, everything has an excuse. Everybody has an excuse. The only thing making you successful is, can you push through? Can you be there? Can you show up? Can you be there day after day after day? Okay, these are the things that matter in life. All right, that's going to matter in your job. That's going to matter in school. That's going to matter if you determine to get married or not. All that is going to pull. How successful you are will pull from your particular discipline. All right? Can you be there for your partner day after day? Can your boss at work count on you to be there and have your job done? Everybody can have an excuse. I can call out. Everybody can call out. Can you be there every day? Can you be there on time, ready to do your job every day? Did you go to school every day? Did you miss work? These type of things will determine how successful you can be. I'm not just talking about it. I can show you many awards of honor rolls, perfect attendance. My jobs that I'm on, they never have to worry about, if it's my scheduled day, will I be there? Because I'm responsible and I can be counted on. Those are the things that make you successful in life. Not saying I'm the most successful person, but I'm doing okay. I'm all right. I'm good. Okay. Now, as far as the question is, the books. Okay, what we have in our FBA family, we call them master teachers. Okay, they are scholars that are recognized globally. Okay, foundational Black American scholars. We have, when I read Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's ISIS papers, she has a profound way of explaining things. Her science is undeniable. Her reasoning is just next level. So the elder mother is to be praised and given all respect. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, if you have a chance to own your own personal copy of the ISIS papers, jump on it. Okay? Get you a copy of that book, read that book. It can do nothing but help you. You want to have these building blocks to stand and build your life with. So the ISIS papers is one. Okay, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. I'll give you a picture of her. I'll show you a picture of her. Excellent foundational Black American woman. All right. Now we have, that's the holistic side of life, science and understanding. We have Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. When it comes to political, we have a master teacher named Dr. Claude Anderson. Dr. Claude Anderson, his list of accomplishments are not only world renowned, but they are undeniably. He's undeniably a leader when it comes to our people. Okay, he wrote the first policies for Black people. He was the first person to bring up reparations for us, not to bring up us getting them, but to put it in a format that you can understand. Dr. Claude Anderson was one of the first people to bring it to the front and explain it in such a way that it became necessary for us to delineate and call ourselves foundational black Americans because we were being mixed in a big jumble with everybody else. And when you have an ambiguous term like African American or minority, it becomes extremely difficult for you to get anything accomplished because within those different groups, they'll always put our black people at the bottom. You understand? Just recently, President Trump said that the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution was for the black freedmen. That's us. Foundational black Americans. We are the descendants of the freedmen, the black freedmen, the slaves, the people who built this country. That's us. That's foundational black Americans. My father was raised in a place in Alabama literally called Freemanville. Okay? We are the foundation of this nation. There would be none without us. It's unquestionable. It's undeniable. Okay, so I'm giving you these steps. Dr. Claude Anderson. Dr. Claude Anderson has a series of books that you should avail yourself to called Powernomics. You want to get Powernomics under your belt. Any young black person in America, you need those kind of books under your belt. You're going to want to read Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson. Okay? That's great books to have. Dr. Claude Anderson, politically, you want to go with Claude Anderson. He'll make some great points for you there. A wonderful style coach for you men. If you're looking for directions, if you don't have a father or you don't know how to carry, you're having questions about how you should carry yourself, we have an author. He's done much. Tariq Nasheed is a great author you should read. He has a book called his Mac series lessons, Mac lessons. Some of those will be, you can't go wrong. Okay. Now you can take some of it as satire, but you can definitely find some directions in there. You can see yourself if you're losing directions. You can find yourself out of a situation going through some of those lessons. You can find yourself as far as simping. You can realize when you're being taken advantage of, when the certain situations aren't matching up. You can get some directions in those books. He's the author of a few books, and he's also directed movies as well. You'll find movies where he stood up for us in Microphone Check. That's one of his movies. I have all the Hidden Color series. All the Hidden Color series I have. He has 2 or 3 other books. Movies that I have as well. I have 1804. I have the 1804 movie. I have them all. He's a good person you can read from. He also has a book out called American Race Baiter. So that's another book you can read. Tariq Nasheed, American Race Baiter. Tariq Nasheed, you can listen to some of his Mac lessons to get your personal self together. To get your mind right, if you will. Okay? In the world, they have a lot of guys who have perfected relationships. We'll call it macking. I guess you would call it macking. Learning how to present yourself to a woman, making yourself more presentable to a woman, making yourself available to be chosen, to be choosed upon. There's certain things that a woman looks for. Okay, so you want to have those things in order. Okay, you can find those things, some of those keys you can find in the Mac lessons literature. So you may want to go through that. That'll help you as well. Another book that he has that's pretty good, not Mac lessons, The Mac Within. There you go. The Mac Within. I have that book as well. Okay, so you have Dr. Francis Cress Welsing for your holistic and scientific side. You have Dr. Claude Anderson, and his Powernomics series is very powerful. You want to get some of that. You have Tariq Nasheed in your personable styling. If you want to have an outstanding direction on where to go, you can get him for your personal styling. There's a lot of good information that you can get from some people, and depending on your preference, the way that your life is leaning. If you're leaning more towards finance, there's a lot of different books you can get into from our foundational teachers, from that, our master teachers on that. I'm going to give you some other books here that I've read. William Katz, has a book out called Black Indians. Black Indians. This is a must read for foundational Black American. You want to add the Black American, the Black Indian book. You want to get that and expose yourself to that. For those individuals who are addressing a lot of issues personable, and you want to know where you are in society, it is always pertinent for a black man to have a copy of the Black's Law Dictionary. You're gonna want to have this series. Is definitely a great book to have in your collection as well. I had a incident where I was asked the question, why does the foundational Black American receive so much hatred from the dominant society? And that's a very powerful question. That's a very powerful question, and it has a real deep tone to it. That's a really deep question as well. Why does the foundational Black American receive so much hatred or disdain from the dominant society? And that really is what it is. You'll have, in our experience here on this continent, in dealing with the dominant society, you'll have an experience that they will call racism. Racism is a system, okay? It's not just, hey nigger, it's not just you blacks. There's more to it than that. Racism is a system. White supremacy, it is a system that's practiced. It's not always the Ku Klux Klan. It's not always the overt bigotry in your face. You understand what I'm saying? It is a system that is practiced, that has kept us down. It tends to suppress our people. It is practiced specifically against us to prevent us from rising. Okay? Now, as horrible as that may sound, we still overcome. We continue to thrive. We continue to build. That's who we are. That's what being a foundational Black American is. Okay? In spite of these things, we overcome. In spite of you making sure my family doesn't own any property. In spite of you making sure my credit is horrible. In spite of you making sure I can't have access to the things that are just given to the members of dominant society. In spite of that, we will overcome. We will do what's necessary to flourish. And we've done that time and time and time again. Okay? There is a book, if ever you want to know, but before matter of fact, let me break that further down. Let me break this on down to its very nucleus. Okay? In science and school, you were taught that everybody is human. Everybody is human. This is false. We are all not the same. Okay? That's a falsehood. We are all not the same. That's not true. Okay? There is a lot of aspects that we have that are equal. I'll give you that. There are some equals, but then there's a certain delusion. There's a certain diluting of the human pool, if you will. All right? Now, there are some things in law you can't get around. Everything comes from black. You can't escape that. That is just a fact. And I know that alone, the knowledge of knowing that, then when you hear somebody say something like white supremacy, it sounds like contradictory. But what you have to understand is that white supremacy is a system. Okay? White supremacy is the system that's practiced to keep us down. White supremacy is a system of oppression, and it is practiced by racists. Okay? By racists / white supremacists. These are the people who practice white supremacy. It's not always a Klan member. It's some of your police officers. It's some of your nurses. It's some of your doctors. It's definitely the teachers in school. I have experienced this system firsthand, so I'm speaking to you from knowledge. Okay? It is practiced in the hospitals when they don't give you the right amount of medication to suppress pain. Because, oh, he's black, he can take it. So they don't give you the dose that you would be required to receive. Oh, he's black, he can take it. They don't completely numb your mouth at the dentist, so you feel every move of the needle in your mouth. That person is practicing white supremacy against you. Okay? And I'll break it down further. I got a little off track. Let me break it down. When I said everything comes from black, that's scientific. Okay? No matter what you do, you can't have white and pull out black. That is impossible. Okay? Now that's just a fact. There's no sense in getting mad about it. That's a fact. But you can have black and lighten, diluting, if you will, and come up with white. You can. That's how it happens. Okay, so if you have a black gene, to get a white gene, you have to dilute. You have to make it weaker. You understand? Now, these are just facts. These are just scientific facts. I'm not saying we're better, but according to science, in order to get white, you have to make a weaker black. You got it? That's just science. That's not Eric Steele's opinion. I'm giving you science. Okay? That's just science. There's no sense in getting mad at me. I'm just telling you the truth. Okay? So white isn't actually a recessive gene. Okay? Now that recessive gene presents itself in a variety of ways. Okay? My beautiful people, I'm going to show you some things, but I want you to understand it took a recessive-minded person to consider these things to be okay. All right? It took a person whose mind is not the same as ours to think that these things should be okayed in law. It was very lawful. Okay, I have a book called Without Sanctuary. This book is a very powerful book. It's a very painful book. So if you're not mature enough to receive this type of information, please don't expose yourself to it. All right. So I'm giving you fair warning. I'm going to show you a couple pictures as I try to describe to you the level of degeneracy that these people have. And especially when it comes to us, because they were of the understanding that it was perfectly fine to do these things. Okay? They were perfectly fine doing these things. They had no problem with it. I'm going to show you just a couple of pages from this book. And I just want you to see the things that they felt were fine. Okay? This one right here, this image right here. I want you to look at this image. Do you see the guy over here with the hat? Do you see him? The guy in the hat is the lawman. Now, do you see those young boys hanging in the tree right there? Back in the days, they would call that strange fruit. Very strange fruit hanging from that tree. Okay? That was legal. They thought that was perfectly fine to hang those young boys. Okay? They thought it was perfectly fine. These are the people that I'm talking about. Okay? These are the people that I'm talking about. They had no problems with these kinds of things. Look at this guy here. He trespassed. Him and his family was walking through somebody's field that they didn't know. There's no line. There's no gate. Okay? And they thought that it would be perfectly fine to just hang him. Just hang him and his family. Just hang him. Okay? These are the things that was done to us. These are the type of things that was done to hold us back. Okay? I say these things not to give you horror, not to make you afraid, but to make you aware of. This is the mindset of these people and how far they can go. And these are pictures but a few generations ago. This is not 100 years ago. These are a few generations ago. So that person you see at the counter or at the at the dentist office, their people are not far from that. They're not far from that. This is who we're dealing with as an opposition. Now, if you don't know your opponent, anybody that can contest to any sort of a war game or challenge, you need to know your opponent. When you know what your opponent is capable of, then you should be able to strategize a game plan. Okay? Now, our game plan as a foundational Black Americans, what our game plan is to receive justice for these type of atrocities that happen to us. We will strive for justice in the form of reparations, and then we will begin to heal ourselves. We will begin to teach our young how to accept things, how to deal with things. Okay? It is always much easier to deal with a person who you know is a racist. It's way easier to deal with a person who you know does not like you than a person that comes up and shakes your hand, daps you up, and every chance he gets, he's undermining you. He's doing little sneaky things to make sure that you don't progress. He'll go to the boss, say, I saw such and such, he been on break, you know what I'm saying? An extra 5 minutes. Not saying that you shouldn't adhere to your time frames and your job, but it's little, they say they do little slick things like that. All right? Now, the diaspora doesn't hold these people to the same account that we do, which is another thing that causes us this delineation that we're seeing right now. We have certain members of the diaspora will still hold these people, knowing all these atrocities that's been done to our people, they still hold these people in high regard. Even though these people are documented murderers, these people are documented killers, they're documented liars, we know all this. So we meet the problem head on. The other side, you'll see that they will tend to join. They'll join with the others coming against us instead of standing with us. This is where a lot of the delineation is coming from. Okay? So we have Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. We have Dr. Claude Anderson. We have Tariq Nasheed. We have Dr. Ben. Dr. John Henry Clark. These are all fantastic. We call these people our master teachers. Maybe not Tariq Nasheed as much, but as far as the others, these are considered master teachers. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben. We have, oh my God, just so many great people that you can learn from. These guys have been world renowned. Okay, their scholarship is undeniable, and sometimes you can find some debates with them on TV. You can find some debates with them on YouTube, and you can see how they handle themselves in a scholarly fashion, and they address their issues that way. So that's a great question. Explain books and scholars recommended for a high schooler. Those are some great questions, and I showed you those images not to terrify you. I'm just trying to make you aware of the things that we've overcome, and the people who put those things upon us, so you know who you're dealing with. Once you recognize the abilities of the enemy, then you can carry yourself accordingly. All right? Please take these things to heart. Take all these lessons in love. Again, it's your brother, Big Rossi Love, a.k.a. Eric Steele. I love you. FBA all day, family. One.